Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make a DIY doll room. This is a collab with Little Crafty Kitty, so make sure to also check out her video. As always, please make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications before we get started. So, I'm actually going to be making a bedroom for my doll, Sky. For the main structure of the room, I'll be using some paperboard I found at a crafting store. You can also use cardboard for this. You'll need some scrapbook paper for the walls. For the flooring in the bedroom, I found some wood grain bulletin board paper. I think that this is a lot like wrapping paper, so it should work pretty well for the floor. The next few items are a little more optional, so it's up to you if you want to use them. I'll be using some Mayberry Street miniature trim pieces to use as trim around the room. I also have this doll window from the same brand. And I found this really cute miniature magnet that I thought would look really cute up on the wall. I'm gonna be making a doll bed for this room too, so I found this table mat that I'll be using as a quilt. I thought it coordinated really well with the rest of my things. Now that we've gathered all of our supplies, let's get crafting. I'm gonna start by measuring my doll to see how tall she is. My doll reaches to about 12 inches, so I'm going to make the room be about 15 inches tall. And it's going to be 20 inches long. Once I have my measurements, I start sketching out the design of the room. Next, I carefully cut it out with a craft knife. I punch the paperboard right out, and now we have the back wall of the bedroom. I start sketching the measurements out for the two side walls. Each is 15 inches tall and 12 inches wide. Once again, I carefully cut these out with a craft knife on the lines drawn. Just to show you guys a demonstration, here is the back wall, and here are the two side walls, and they're gonna fit together just like this. So as you can see, I've made a few changes. I decided that I wanted the walls to be a little longer, so I added on about 2 inches more of paperboard, and I just taped it onto the edges here. Also, I didn't have any paperboard left that was big enough for the floor, so I'm gonna be using cardboard instead. I know it's a little different, but it should work just fine. If you want, you can assemble the room together as your next step, but I find it easier to cover the walls and the floor first. I start by gluing the scrapbook paper onto the paperboard walls. I'll also have to measure and cut to get the paper to the right lengths. Once the walls are done, I move right onto the floors. First, I unwrap my bulletin board paper. This is pretty much just like wrapping paper, so I guess you could use it too. I lay a big sheet of it out, then I fold it in and tape the paper onto the cardboard floor. It's just like wrapping a present, except it's a flat piece of cardboard. Flip it on over, and here we have our completed floor. Once I have all of my different pieces covered, it's time to hot glue it all together. I add glue to the bottom of one wall, then press it against the floor to stick together. I do this to all the sides, cracks, and corners to make sure that the room will stay together. Ta-da! We have ourselves one full sturdy doll room. I think it looks pretty good. Now that we have the room done, I'm going to add the trim pieces in. I start by marking how long I'll need each piece to be, then I cut them with a craft knife. Now I just glue the trim to the walls. Now that the room part is done, it's time to start making some furniture to put inside. First off, I'm going to be making a bed using cardboard. I cut out several pieces. The first top part of the bed is going to measure 7.5 inches wide and 12 inches long. The sides of the bed will also be 12 inches long by 4.5 inches tall. And once again, I'll be using my craft knife to cut the pieces out. Real quick, here is all of the measurements of the bed pieces. The headboard and the footboard turned out to be 7.5 inches long and 4 inches wide. Now it's time to glue all of the pieces together. I start by hot gluing the sides to the base of the bed. Now I add on both the front and the back of the bed. I also make sure to glue the corners so it all stays together. Now that we have the bed part made, it's time for the headboard and the footboard. I'm gonna be using some popsicle sticks for this. You'll just need enough to cover the length of your cardboard. Next, I cut off the top of each popsicle stick. Now I just hot glue them straight onto my cardboard. I glue a larger popsicle stick to the top. Now I glue my headboard onto the bed. For the footboard, I'm just gonna glue popsicle sticks straight onto the end of the bed. Now that the bed's done, I'm gonna be following a My Froggy Stuff tutorial on how to make a butterfly chair for your dolls. As you can see, I already have some wooden dowels cut for the base of the chair. These smaller ones are about 5 inches, and the longer ones are more like 7 inches. We're back after I hot glued my wooden dowels together to make the base of the chair. It certainly isn't the best, maybe a little lopsided, but I think it'll work. Now I'm gonna be painting it black to hide some of the glue splotches. It wasn't the smartest idea to do this around my new background. I got a paint splatter on it. But what can I do? I guess keep painting. To make the fluffy covering, I'm gonna trace the outline of the chair to make a pattern. Now I cut my pattern out. Now, as you can see, we're gonna cover the pattern with fabric and it should fit right in the chair. I'm gonna be using this soft, really fluffy fabric that also sheds a lot to make the cushion. I trace the pattern onto my fabric. Now I cut it right out. I also cut these little flaps here out of felt, and I'll show you guys in a minute what they're gonna be used for. So this fabric was a little flimsy and see-through, so I'm actually gonna be gluing 2 layers together to make it a little thicker. Now I glue each little flap onto a different corner of the fabric. Now, as you can see, we can place the fur covering right onto the chair. It will stay on because of the flaps. Next, I'll be making a desk for my doll room using the leftover paperboard. It's going to measure 7 by 3 inches. I carefully cut on the measurements drawn, and because the paperboard is so thin, I'm actually going to need to make this be 2 or 3 layers thick. So I duplicate my design 2 more times. Now I just glue each layer of paperboard together. I'm going to be covering the paperboard with some leftover scraps of my bulletin board paper. I just tape this straight on, making sure to secure it all around the edges and on the sides. So actually, I ended up changing the covering of the desk. Instead of the wood grain, I just decided on a white. It looks a lot more simpler and clearer that way. For the legs on the desk, we're going to be using these square wooden dowels here. The table's length is about 7.5 inches, so that's about how long we'll want the frame made out of the wooden dowels to be. The craft knife didn't really work for this, so I'm just going to end up using some pliers. Now I'm going to glue the cut wooden dowels to the bottom side of the tabletop. We're back and I've done a lot of cutting, so here are some thicker wooden dowels that I'm gonna be using for the legs. Can I just say that they were super duper hard to cut? Probably not a good idea to use pliers, they did break a lot. So anyways, over here to the left, these are also gonna be part of it, and this is gonna be the back side. It's kind of hard to explain, so just watch. I start by gluing a different leg in each of the 4 corners. I do this all around the table, making sure to apply the glue very generously. Now you can probably see how this is gonna make a table. I'm going to measure and cut my smaller wooden dowel to be able to fit in the back. Next, I glue it on all sides. Now I add my 2 smaller side pieces as well. I've also made a little nightstand sort of table out of popsicle sticks, and now I'm gonna be making some legs for it out of some wooden dowels. I'm just gonna hot glue a dowel on each side. And voila, we have a table. Now that we have a desk, I'm gonna be making a chair for it out of this random round wood thing I found. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure it'll work pretty good for a little stool that I plan on making. First, I'm gonna put some cotton balls inside of my stool to make it flat. Next, I'm gonna cover it with some padding. I'll be gluing it on pretty heavily with just some basic Elmer's glue. Next, I'll be covering the stool in the same furry material that I made my chair out of. I hot glue the fabric right onto the seat cushion. For legs, I'm gonna be using some wooden dowels. I measure, then cut them to the length I want them to be compared to the desk. Now all I have to do is glue the legs onto the chair. This part here was pretty challenging. And voila, we have ourselves one cute little stool. Now that we're finished, let's put everything in the room to see how it all looks. For some wall decor, I have this sign that says, "Today I choose joy." I thought it kind of matched the whole floral print of the room. Anyways, I peeled the sticky magnet part right off, and now I can put this right up on the wall. I'll also be adding a mirror over to the right corner by the desk. Now all I have left to do is add this window somewhere in the bedroom. And here we have it. Of course, first, I'm gonna go find an outdoor picture to put in here. Now I use some mounting putty to stick it on the wall. Here we are with the completed, fully done doll room. Wow, okay, I love how it turned out. I think the floral pattern really goes good with Sky and that it's adorable. The desk and the stool both turned out really cute. The butterfly chair was a little bit lopsided, but it still looks pretty good. Overall, I'm really happy with how my work turned out. I love everything pretty much. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you also liked how this doll room turned out. Also, make sure to check out Little Crafty Kitty's video on how to do this. This collab was super duper fun. Anyways, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and tell me what you think of the room down in the comments below. Bye guys, I hope to see you in my next video.